Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In our last video, we introduced our personal blog website project using juice.io and nest.js. Today, we'll be focusing on creating the backend with juice.io. If you haven't seen the first video, make sure to check it out before diving into this one. Now, before we begin, let's quickly recap what juice.io is all about. Juice.io is a powerful platform that simplifies and speeds up Django project creation. It helps you set up custom, professional-grade Django projects with just a few clicks, taking care of the complex, time-consuming aspects of setting up a project, so you can focus on your app's functionality. With Juice.io, you can say goodbye to manual coding and hello to the future of Django project creation. In this video, we'll be going through the following steps to create our backend. We'll be creating the models we identified in the last episode, which include the blog tag, blog comments, and image models. The great thing about Juice.io is that once you create a model, the serializer, view, and URLs are created alongside it. This ensures that all you need to do is go ahead and confirm if it's sufficient for your needs or adjust it to achieve your goals. Finally, we'll be creating an extra view to get the top blogs, since this won't be available by default. Alright guys, let's create our backend API. I will ensure to be straight to the point and won't have any side thoughts. By the way, this is not going to be a detailed review of Juice.io. This is going to be strictly based on what we want to create. So if you need more information about Juice.io, the docs page is going to be available here to have video tutorials on how to go about Juice.io. As of the moment, we only have the getting started with Juice.io, which I will recommend we check it out just to get a better knowledge of Juice.io. Before we delve in further, Juice.io is modeled after Django. So technically, Django is meant to be a prerequisite, but I won't dwell too much on that. I believe we can still go ahead and do whatever we want to do, but it's just going to be a better advantage having Django knowledge, okay? So I'll proceed to logging into my account now, and we'll continue from there. So after logging, I'm presented with the project page. As of now, I have a random project link going around, and I'll go ahead to create the new project we are working on. So this is blog grades, and I'm going to add description to it. Alright, so with that out of the way, we can proceed to choosing a template. And I believe that's self-explanatory. So as of now, I have the blog template, which kind of fit into what we want to create. But instead, I would want us to do everything from scratch. So I'm going to choose this. Then I can create my project. So this walks through the steps of creating the whole flow. And once the project is done creating, it's going to automatically redirect us to the project, and we can start working from there. So all is done and we are redirected here already. So here is the apps page, and remember, according to Django, your apps kinds of abstract related functionalities. And according to our project, we are going to have a single app, which is the blog app. So the description is self-explanatory, and we can create the app. So now we have the blog app. Next, we can proceed to creating the model. And we can go to the model. So as of now, we don't have any models. So in our last episode, we discussed about the models to be created, and here is what it looks like. So we have the blog tags and so on. So let's start with creating the blog tags. So I'll just call this the tag. And I don't think a description or created art or updated art is necessary. It's just going to be tagged. It's not doing anything special aside from being a reference to the blogs. So yeah, I'm done with the name. So next I can proceed to the fields, because when creating a model, you need fields to have your model in place. So you can either click on here or you can click on here. So I add field. In this case, the name of the field is name. And the type is going to be a character field of maximum length 20. And I think that's all we need to do here. So we can add a description if you want to. We don't need a default content in this case. And Yeah, I think a tag has to be unique, so we can have the unique flag checked. And I think every other thing is okay. So I'll add that, proceed to the next. So again, for our model, we have the meta config where we can set some meta information. And in this case, we have the ordering information, which I don't think is necessary for the tag. So I'll just go ahead and create the model. All right, so once I did that, I have the model created and this action popped up. So this action is telling me that I just created the model and I would need to run migration. Again, this is something Django people would be familiar with. But since we still have other models to be created, I don't think running a migration now will be necessary, so I'll ignore this. So next, I proceed to creating the blog model. So I'll call this blog. Again, I don't need to add a description. It should be self-explanatory. But in this case, I'm going to need the created ads and the updated ads. So I'll proceed to the fields, add my first field. Again, remember we have the tag field, which is a foreign relationship with the blog tag. So here I'm going to have the tag field, and I'm going to choose the foreign relationship, that's foreign key. And I'm going to select the model reference, which is the tag model. And then I'm going to have a related name. So in this case, it's going to be blogs. And the related name is meant to effect a reverse relationship. So let's say we are communicating from the tag side. We can get the blogs associated with a tag by having it as tag.blogs. Then finally, we can have the onDelete reference. So when we delete the reference associated with this blog, what happens to the blog? So yeah, we want to delete the blog once we delete the reference. And that's all we need to do in regards to the tag. We can add the field. Then we proceed to add the next field, in this case, the title. For the type is going to be a character field with a maximum length of 100. And this is going to be a unique title. We add the field. The next is going to be a slug because we are going to be communicating using a slug. So we have the slug, then we can specify the slug field. And just kinds of have a means through which it handles slug process. So when you specify the field reference, so where you want to slugify, then Juice is going to handle the rest. So also slug has to be a unique field, so we can specify unique. It won't be necessary in the long run because the title that is referencing is a unique field, but it's just okay to have the slug field as a unique field as well. So we add that. Then the next field is the caption. So let's have that. So we have the caption. And for the caption, I'm going to have it as a text field. So I initially planned to have this as a character field with maximum length of 225. But I just feel having it as a text field is okay. Then I think that's all we need to do here. The next one is the content. And for the content, it's going to be a text field because it can take a lot of content. Then I think that's all for that. Finally, we want to have the cover field. And this is going to be an image field. And yeah, we can specify the path we are uploading to. And I'll call this blog grades into cover. Then in the case of cover, it's not compulsory. So we can have it as a nullable field. Then we can add field. So the final fields we have is the created art and updated art, which we specified already. So next we can proceed to the meta config. In the case of the meta config, we want to specify that we want to order the blogs by updated art. So in case I update a blog, I want it to be the latest blog. And yeah, when you create a blog, it's going to add the same date as the created art and the updated art. Then finally, the direction will be descending. So the latest update will come first, then others will follow. So I'll create the model. So now we have two models, we have two to go. So let's proceed to the blog comments. And here we can just call this comments. And for the comments, we only need the created art field. And because we won't be able to update a comment, then the updated art field won't be necessary. So again, we proceed to the fields. The comment has a relationship to the blog. So we're going to have the blog here, and we're going to choose the foreign relationship. Then we have the blog model as the reference. Then in this case, the related name is going to be the comments. So from the blog side, we can say blog.comments, and we're going to get all the comments associated with the blog. Then again, on delete, we want to delete record. So yeah, that's all in regards to the blog field. Next is the name of the commenter. So yeah, we'll specify the name. That is going to be a character field with maximum length of 100. And that's all for that. The next is going to be the comment itself. And for the comment, we're going to have it as a text field. And that's all as well. I think so. So that's all we need to have with the in regards to the blocks comment. We already have the created at initiated at first. Then we proceed to the meta config. So in the case of the meta config or the ordering for the comments, I want the reverse to be the case. So the oldest comments should come first. So the newer comments should come below. So it should be the priority of first comment first seen. So yeah, I'm going to have this as created at. Then this is going to be ascending. Then I'll create the model. Finally, let's add the image model. And again, this does not need a created at or a updated at because it's meant to be just links to our content. So next, we're going to have the image link itself. And the field type is going to be the image field. The upload path is going to be blog rate images, like that. And that's all we need to do in regards to this. Again, the meta config does not matter, so we can just create a model. And now we have all the models we would need. Now we can make use of our action and run the migration. Alright, so now we have the migration successful. We can proceed to our serializers and confirm if we have things the way it should. So if we go over the blog serializer, we have this. Then for the fields, we have these fields added by default. And this is me assuming or considering that once you have a foreign relationship, this is the settings you want to have for your serializer. But yeah, in case you have something else you want to set, you can decide to add it yourself. And if you feel this is not good enough, you can remove the field yourself. But I feel this is okay for what we need, and I'll proceed to having this. And the same thing for the comment serializer. If we check it out, there is nothing. It's still the same thing, so we are good to go. The image serializer is just nothing because there is no relationship. Same thing for the tag serializer. So our blog serializer looks good. We can proceed to the views. So we can check out the tag view. According to the tag view, we have the name, we have the serializer, and we have the method. So currently it's allowing all methods, and we need this to be able to create tag from our serializer view later on. Then the return content is returning all contents. Then for functions, no function is specified. So the same thing is done for the comment as well as the image view, and that's okay. However, for the blog view, we want to make some adjustments. So first in the basic control is fine. We want to have the view as blog view, the serializer as blog serializer. Then also it allows our methods. But for the single record view, we want to choose the slug. If you do not choose anything, it's going to use the ID by default. But in this case, we want to choose the slug. And the reason we are choosing the slug is that we want to be able to communicate to the blog using the slug, as that's also what is going to be shown on our URL. So that just works. Then we want to move to the return content, which all data too seems okay. So finally, we want to go to the function. So the function is where you can specify custom functions. And in the future, I plan to have several functions that I feel are kind of common, and we can have it here. But for now, the only function I have in place is the add search function. So this allows you to be able to search your view. So you specify the function and you add it, and it's going to allow you set some stuff. So yeah, based on this, the search key by default is keyword. So what that means is that to use the URL, you can add the query param keyword and you specify what you want to search. Then you can choose what the consideration for search should be. So you can see the options available. You can use the tag model name, the title, and so on. So because it's able to identify the relationships, it's able to come up with the tag model name. So I'm going to use this as well as the title, and I think those should be sufficient enough for our search. So then I'll update the view, and we should be good with that. So finally, I want to add one extra view, which is the top blog view. So yeah, I'm going to specify the name. Then this is going to be using the blog serializer because it's going to be querying information from the blog serializer. Then for the top blog view, it's going to be using just the get method. So we can't post or patch or delete because the whole point is just to get the top blogs. So yeah, I'm going to specify in the get method here. Then for the single record, we don't need to change anything here. It doesn't matter for the top blog view. Then for the return content, here is one where we want to specify the top blog process itself. So the current return, possible return is either all data, it returns all data without any filtering, without anything, or you want to return top data, and it's going to kind of do some checks and see what you can use as your reference to your top data, or you can return similar data based on something. So yeah, I'll choose the top data. And as you can see, it's asking you to choose what key you want to use to define your top data. And in this case, the only possible key to measure a top data is the comments. Because for blogs, when you have multiple comments, it probably means that blog is the top blog because people are communicating with it. And yeah, this is something we have. So I'm going to choose comments, and by default, you can return 5. You can specify more or less, but I think I'm cool with 5. And I don't need anything with the function. We are not going to search the top blog. We're cool with that. Then I can create view. So I have the top blog view. And if we come down to the URLs, the top blog URL is not created. And that's because it's not coming from the model. So what we can do is create the URL for that. So here we can have, and we are going to specify the view for this URL, which is going to be the top blog view. And yeah, I think we are done with that. We can add description if we want to, but I think it's quite self-explanatory. So now we have the URL for that. Again, this app is not going to require authentication or authorization, so we don't need to access this. So the next thing we want to do is we can check the project URL to confirm the URLs we have. However, I want to also update the settings. So I want to use the Cloudinary file storage. So here in the file storage section, if you come down here, you have the option to set up for AWS or Cloudinary. So I'll be using Cloudinary. And yeah, I have a Cloudinary account. If you want one, you can create one, and it should be quite straightforward. Once you have that, you can come down to your dashboard and see your information here. So here is my cloud name. I can come back here and include this cloud name, then the API key, then finally the API secrets. So yeah, with that specified, I can update my file storage, and that will be considered with my code. Alright, so that's done. It requires an action. Yeah, we can run migration. I don't think that should be a major deal. So we have that, and I think we have all set up for our project. So all we can do now is download and test our code. I will just wait for it to download. Alright, so our download is complete, and here is what we have. So we unzip this, and we have this blog rate main folder. And within this folder, we have the main app, we have the environment, and we have some helper files here around. So we have the README, which gives you an insight of how to go about the project. We have the create super admin as a script file that you can use to just create your admin. Then we have the start server, so you can just go ahead and start your server from here. So what I'll do is we will go over the README just to get a better insight. So here is what the README looks like. So we can always go over this. I believe by now we would have access to the same thing and we can just check it out. So as you can see here are the requirements. It requires Python 3. Django is not really a requirement. I'll probably remove that. But Python 3x is required, pip3s is required, and so on. It should be self-explanatory. So once all those have been established, we can start our server. So bear in mind we are within this directory. So if we check ls, we have access to the start server sh. So to start the server, we can just have bash, then start server. And that should run some migrations. And yeah, it should start the server. As we can see, it started here. So we can click on this and we have URL as we can see. So currently we do not have a super admin, so yeah, we can't, there's no need to go there, but we can access our blog paths and let's just quickly use the opportunity to test our app. So accessing the blog path, we have this, so we have the tag URL and we can create a tag. So let's just have the tech tag. Let's have news. Let's have politics. Yeah, and we are good with it, the theory, and as we can see, this is being created. So we can go back to our tag lists and we see all the tags we've created. So we can go back to our API roots. We can go to the blog URL and we can create the blog. So if I remember correctly, we go to the tag, we have the ID1, ID2, and ID3. And just for testing, we can just use the ID1, specify a random title. Yeah, the slug actually is meant to be uneditable. So yeah, I would close this. I'll close this. I'll just delete everything. I don't think we need it anymore. Move to bin. Because we want to make an update, and making an update will require us to download another one. So this is out. So we come back here. We come back here. Come back to our blog and models. So for our blog model, we want to edit that. We want to come back to the field. So we want to adjust the slug. So edit. It should not be editable. So this is meant to happen automatically from the app side. So yeah, let's remove this editable. And let's update this. So let's update model. Let's run migration. All right, so that's successful and we should have that update now. So let's download it once again. By the way, I have plans to just have this reference or have a link to our GitHub repo so we can just update the repo instead of downloading every minute. But stay tuned for that. Again, the download is complete. We can extract this and we will open it up in our code. Okay, let's start the server again. Okay, the server is running again and we have the blog path. So let's create some tags again. All right. So back to our API roots, then we have the blog URL. So now, as you can see, we do not have the slug again, but it's available. It's not just editable from here. So here we can specify the tag ID as 1. We can have a random title. Then we can just have a random caption just to test that this is working. Then random content as well. So for the cover, you can either add the cover or not. So let's add one for now. So we have all our information we can post. And as you can see, this is referencing from our Cloudinary side. So as you can see, this is a link from Cloudinary. And if we click on this, we have our logo, which looks good. So yeah, we can also make a test without a cover, and also let's confirm if our title being unique is working. So let's post. So as you can see, blog model with title already exists. So let's have this as title 2, and every other thing can work. And as you can see, we can have the cover as none. So that works as well. So we come back to the API roots. Then we can also test our comment URL. We have a blog, can add a name. Then we can have a comment as random comment. Then we post, the comment works. And as you can see, all our setup from the serializer seems to work the way we want it. So that's good. Then we have the blog URL. We can choose an image, and that should upload the image, which we can then use the link. So let's find an image. Okay, we post this image. It returns the URL for us, and we can use this URL later on. So that's about that. Then finally, for the top blog, is just going to return the blog, and as you can see, you can't post any blog, and that's because we only allow the get method. So it looks like everything works, and we are literally done with the backend creation. And that's it. We've successfully set up our backend using juice.io for our personal blog website. In the next video, we'll be designing the front end with nest.js. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our progress. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below, and I'll do my best to help you out. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.